Flame on! How's everybody doing tonight? I'm here with my special guest, Nick Lenz. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the first collab in a while, DC Comics December Solicitations 2024. Now, I know it's been a while. Hurricane Helen reached my area, so I've been having technical issues for the past 2 weeks now. But I feel like now everything's under control, and I should be back to a consistent uploading schedule.
hmm
But hold on, we got a comment on the channel. Oh, what's up, Debbie? How's it going? But before we begin, Nick, any quick promotions you want to do before while I pull up the article?
Uh, well, I basically did a couple videos today. Where one up, I started reviewing this week the fifth Metal Hero series, Spillbond, one of the Hero series that adapted for VR Troopers, and did a comic corner, and well, I did a review today of the penultimate episode of That Time Occurrence of Slime. Did you read the All In special?
I had. Now we could go over that one briefly. As bringing the Justice League back together, it did its job. I just feel like the dark side perspective, or the Omega should have been the Alpha. It should have been reversed, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
Yeah, and Green Arrow pointed out, though, in episode 104, that the spend in the Justice League was a terrible idea. And I'm guessing it's probably not Wade writing that. I'm thinking that it could have been Josh Williamson probably suggesting that to him to write that, because he wrote that in the Green Arrow title, that he was not happy Justice League disbanded. He didn't even know Justice League disbanded until he got to the headquarters.
Probably for
Justice League number 2, which and Red basically, you look at the group, you're like, wow, it's like they brought the TV show to the comic. And this is technically the second book called Just Like a Limited, because it was one adapted in the TV show.
if you're not counting the tie-in comics, and yes, this is the first one of its kind. But I just feel like that this is just an excuse to rip off Hickman during Hickman's Avengers, where the majority, if not all of them, of the superhero community at Marvel were considered Avengers members. And it was just an overarching story across the whole line that just became bloated. Now, Mark, I hope this is a bit more balanced, but we've been down this road before, is what I'm trying to say. As
Also, who's the leader of the Justice League? That's a really good question, because there's no listed leader of the Justice League. Some of the
I was
members, you're like, oh, look, they look like Batman's drawn on the cover. It looks really weird. His legs look so big. That's
probably
not. I don't think. I think that's Simone Demono's cover. That looks like Mike Diodato.
and it kind of just bench. Now, granted, as much as I want the Grace, Nightwing, Starfire, Cyborg, the Titans to get more push, you really ultimately felt like it wasn't going to last, because I get it. The Justice League is the stronger IP. The Titans are just a branch off of a more stronger IP, where the sidekicks are adults and their own respective heroes. And I just
They're
feel
based
like
on a
that.
Watchtower again, which that's interesting. Which makes the first time they've had a space station they based out of the Watchtower since Christopher Priest wrote the book. Because since Scott Snyder, they based out of the Hall of Justice.
Yeah,
And
just let it be known I do have some feelings towards the whole Titans replacing the Justice League towards situation, but I'll probably save that for a separate video.
and I'm sure people might be hesitant to buy this book given the fact of it's written by Mark Waid.
Yeah, the guy Mark Wade's Mark Wade's a scumbag. We all know that, but at least his work is more consistent.
Now,
Granted,
this is gonna be interesting. It's on sale Christmas Day.
not to mention the price tag, because I don't think prices for comics have been this low since Rebirth, $3.99.
Yeah, because they've gone way up. You want to read this solicit for Justice League?
Oh, okay. I'll go ahead and take the first one. As the Justice League grapples with the ramifications of the Atom Project, a strange alert brings the team to the jungles of South America, and a horrific discovery. Can the elite Justice League strike force save a village from total slaughter? Plus, the mystery of the dark side heir deepens, and dissension in the ranks forces Batman's hand.
I mean, who's the heir? It's clearly not. If those who didn't read the All One special, I think that if I remember correctly, I think Darkseid killed his own son.
Yes, he spoilers for this comic, by the way, Nick. Thank you. He sacrifices Calabec for a ritual. So that's about the most I'm going to say. If you want the specific context, you're gonna have to read the issue for yourself.
Which means the only person who could be the heir is Grell. Because
Well, wait,
Orion
isn't
clearly
it?
doesn't want it.
Hmm.
Because Grell, aside from Orion, technically Darkseid has three children. There's Grell, Calabac, and Orion. Orion is part of New Genesis, so you want nothing to do with it at all. So my guess is going to Grell.
Now, there have been stories where Orion had become the new ruler of Pakos, but only when he absolutely had to. See what I did there?
Yes, and the story is with Orion is that he is the son of Darkseid's second wife. Calabac is the son of his first wife. That has been established by Kirby because his first wife was actually somebody that he actually really loved. It was a sorceress that he really was in love with, and they got married. And according to the story, I know this is like 40 years old, so it's not going to be really a spoiler. Darkseid's mother poisoned his wife because she didn't like him because it's not the one she wanted him to marry. Instead, it basically went to the woman who became Orion's mother. And Grell's mother is an Amazon.
Part of a long-term contingency plan. You would have to go back to the New 52 Justice League run, but that's a whole can of worms.
The whole thing, I just explained that's all Jack Kirby.
I was talking about Grail specifically, but yes, the majority of for the other two is Jack Kirby. Yes.
Yeah. Remember that scene where like after Darkseid War, Grail was by herself and she's not wearing anything.
Nick, are you trying to get me demonetized?
I mean, it happened in the book. I'm trying to look at basically who's Batman fighting the cover. I can't tell. No, she's not dead. She's still very much alive. I can't tell who. I think that's a new character that just showed up in the new arc.
Yes.
Yes, who for some reason in the book, I know there's a bit of a spoiler here. I love the cover by Tony Sano. This is a new character that just showed up, and this is somebody Vandal Savage supports. And Vandal Savage is now the commissioner of the GCPD. It's not Renee Montoya. It's not Howard Bullock. Jim Gordon is retired. He is no longer in the police force. He is a PI. Harvey's back with the police force. And the mayor is somebody who James City introduced. Nico, I think his name is.
Mayor Nakano. And after Magistrate, you could tell they really had nothing to do with the character. He's just there to cement anti-mask, anti-vigilante president in the city. And all that's really left for him is to essentially be killed off, which I think actually happens in this issue, if I remember correctly.
The issue that just came out.
That just came out.
Yeah, the probably died. And he had some issues with Batman, but he had more bigger issue with new guy. Because this guy uses guns. And Batman, I at least got praise for Zardesky doesn't write Batman to be stupid in the issue. He realizes that what he did was stupid and try to beat him up for it.
Written by Chip Zdarsky, art by Jorge Jimenez, and second artist Tony S. Daniel, likely for the backup. Cover by Jorge Jimenez.
Isn't it surprising he's still doing the art for this book?
I am surprised by that, really. Cover by Jorge Jimenez, variants by Tony Harris and Tony S. Daniel. Winter Wonderland variant, probably for a Christmas anthology. Written by Chrissy Zulo. Apologies if I butchered that. Foil variant by Jorge Jimenez. Now this one's slightly more expensive at $4.99, but that's to be expected with current market.
40 pages.
Yeah, that's to be expected. With the Court of Owls plan revealed and the city in chaos, Batman must find the strength to fight a war on multiple fronts and save Gotham from disaster. The fates of Jim Gordon, the Riddler, and all of Gotham rest in the hands of the Dark Knight. In this climactic issue so big, it takes two superstar artists to bring it to life.
Okay, that's the reason why. And also, it was real in the opening issue that Riddler has got his own company now. And it's
Yeah,
because he's got a company, which is
but
interesting.
but does Riddler going legit really last?
Not really. And his own company is based on cryptocurrency, which everybody knows that stuff doesn't work at all. And yeah, he based his company around it. Now, here we have Ram V's brand new title, New Gods. I actually tweeted him about this title. Um, what he told me is that he's going to give a lot of respect for this title because it's Jack Kirby's characters. That's what he told me on Twitter. Um, like, is he going to continue what Jack Kirby started? He's going to basically, in a way, he's going to build upon what Jack Kirby started with these characters back in the 70s. I don't know if he's going to ignore anything as I would play the writers for these characters, but I think he's just going to build upon what's there. So, and I think some people are hoping this book will be better than probably what people thought was Detective Comics Run was.
Yeah, that nothing wrong with having an overarching playwright or Phantom of the Opera type deal, but it was just dragged out. Like that storyline lasted like what, 2 years straight?
Yes, I think it's going to be collecting about 5 books.
Written by Ram V, art by Evan Cagle. Apologies if I butchered that. Covered by Nemit Malivia. Apologies if I butchered that as well. Variant by Even and Pete Woods. Birth of a New God. Variant by Evan Cagle.
At $10?
Wait, where do you see $10?
Next to his name, $9.99. $10 is variant cover. That's expensive.
Hold on, where is that variant? Hold on, I might be able to find it. I don't recognize his art. Is this
that? Like, I'm not sure that could be it, but that could be right there. But $10 for a variant cover? I'm sorry. I don't care how good he is. No one's paying $10 for variant cover. That's too expensive.
Now 5 I could see, maybe 7. That's the limit. No one's, even in the collector's market, no one's paying $10 for a variant. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Would you like me to do this one?
Go ahead.
As an old god has died, and the reverberations of his passing are felt across the universe, setting forth soldiers of an intergalactic army and awakening the latent powers of a mysterious child on Earth. But this has all been foreseen, prophesied by the source, and fed in manic images to his agent, Metron. Now, as Metron brings word of the cosmos shouting prediction to the residents of New Genesis Apocalypse, both worlds are the chaos and conflict on Earth. Scott Frame, Big, and Barda find themselves unaware of the coming chaos, consumed with the most daunting task yet: parenthood. Ranvi and Evan Kula bring the fourth world whole generation in this epic portions. The old gods died, new gods are born. Now that's interesting because that's something that already has been happened with the mean parents, because that happened in Tom King's Mr. America book.
Indeed, it did, and I
like, is Ranvi ignoring that, or he just? I'm not sure. It's kind of weird.
We will probably have to wait for the issue itself before we know more.
The Bankrupt Batman, aka Absolute Batman number 3.
Written by Scott Snyder, art by Nick Dragata. One of the variants is by Becky Clune, and better artist than she is a writer, if I'm being completely honest. And Gabrielle Delato.
And a variant cover by Riley Ruspo. I think that one's Riley Ruspo right there. The last one.
Oh, number 4?
I think that's Riley Ruspo. Yeah, that's him. That's Riley Ruspo's artwork.
Riley Rusmo. Riley Rusmo? Where I know I've heard that name on a title before. Factoring Infinite Frontier.
Tim Drake Robin. He also did West Dot Sandman.
Okay, nothing. Because I want to look at this artwork before we read the solicitation. Let me go down to number. You said it was the fourth cover.
Yes.
This is not bad on its own. This is not bad.
Yeah.
But Ross,
If you ever read his book he did with Batman Team with Shadow, that's really good.
yeah, I don't know what was going on. I can understand Tim Drake Robin being a shelf title and everything they were doing with the character at that time frame with the him coming out and Bernard and all that. But that book was just god awful.
Yeah, people bending over for no reason. I mean, here's the thing: when you walk down the steps inside of a ship, do you bend your back when you do that? Not
No.
really. You bend your head, not your frickin' back. And also, there is no such thing as a landlord of a marina. It's called a harbor master. A landlord is somebody who owns land for like a building, a house, not a freaking marina.
I can understand not to casual that might sound like a similar like two similar concepts, but no, there is a difference. Contrary to popular belief, there is a difference.
And plus, landlords, a lot of the time, way people would describe them is that they're not very nice people, but yet they'll rent places to people and they'll charge people a lot of money for rent.
Now, Nick, I don't mind PG-13 cursing or whatnot on my channel. It's good. And it's I don't mind that, but try not to go too far with it because I'm trying not to get demonetized. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not using the color for swear words
I appreciate it, Nick. Thank you.
because I don't think it's very nice. I know Tivia sometimes likes doing that, but not me.
All right. Batman and Alfred have formed a tentative alliance, but the Black Mask has some new friends too. But they're coming to Gotham to wreak absolute havoc. Plus, discover the dark secret that will rock Bruce to his core and make him question everything.
And this is Ultimate Universe, not Prime Universe Batman. Prime Universe Batman, Alfred's still dead, despite the fact. I think that writers have tried to bring him back, but yet some reason editorial said no. Now this is surprising. Meta Marvel getting a book in 2024. I'm thinking
Yeah,
like this is interesting
this is
because
likely. Go ahead, Nick.
I think the last time he had self-titled books back in the 90s. Because he had like a feature for Wednesday Comics and of course for Legends of Tomorrow, but not his own self-titled book.
Wait, didn't he have an ensemble with the Outsiders?
Yeah, he's one of the outsiders, but not like a title where it's like it's his title. He had one published in the 90s. It was a 4-issue miniseries by, believe it or not, Mark Waid wrote it. And it was 4 issues. And that was the last thing he had for years until this. Because anytime he's saying solo stuff, it's mostly been anthology books. Wednesday Comics and Legend of Tomorrow, which I think he was the second lead feature of the book behind Firestorm in that book. Which the whole thing with that feature was to just reestablish Metamorpho in the current continuity. It is interesting to have Al Ewing write this book, given the fact the guy has been associated with Marvel the last 10 years. Like, I'm trying to think, what was the last book he wrote for DC?
I know it's been a while.
But I'm thinking, Metamorpho's an interesting choice because he's not that big of a character. I guess DC is probably not trusting him enough with bigger characters, so I guess they figured, hey, why not Metamorpho? They're like, okay, go for it.
I mean, he's low risk. There's obviously precedent or synergy for it due to Superman Legacy. And there's no drawback if the book flops. Well, at least from a financial standpoint.
Yeah, he's got his fans, but he's not that big of a superhero to the comics. And plus, he's one of those many superheroes who is, to my knowledge, never appeared in live action. He's appeared in cartoons, but never appeared in live action. I think Legacy was the first time he ever appeared in live action. He's going to be.
Yes, Legacy is definitely going to be his live action debut.
Because I think he's going to be mostly, you look at him, he's going to be a CGI character.
Yeah, there's no way you can do practical with Metamorpho. There's just no way.
Now, I'm sure you can get like, you can probably make some CGI motion capture, but did they cast who's going to play Metamorpho?
I don't think so. They've cast Superman. They've cast one of the Green Lanterns. They've casted Hawk Girl, Guy Gardner. Nathan Fillion's not my first choice, but I can see why they chose him. They casted Mr. Terrific, but I don't think they casted Metamorpho.
It's almost like Superman Legacy. It seems like more like an introduction to the universe, more than a Superman movie.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be an origin by any stretch of the imagination, but it feels more like a Justice League International movie, if I'm being honest. Hey,
Yes,
what's up, Diggs?
seems like his logo seems like a Indianapolis Colts player. Jay,
I'm
you
here.
there? It
Hello?
seems like his logo looks like a Indianapolis Colts for one of the players with Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. Yeah. Sorry, I was lagging for a minute. But
It looks like he's tweeting us from Twitch.
sorry about that, folks.
Yep. Um, let's see. Let's see his. To love him, to know him is to love a fab freak who can change up any element in the human body. He is the one and only Rex Mace alias Metamorpho. But even he went out against Cyclops, a hairy eyeball of crime, the graces from the top of the pop charts to the lowest depths of evil, and even of the far of our realm, Ra realm. To find out the Element Man must survive the handpick assassin, who can match him change for change, and that's just the first issue. Join us for a conventional bond of friends, foes of friends, new ongoing series with superstar team Al Ewing and Steve Lieber. That's a weird solicit.
That it is.
And look, they're saying with his love of the wife star, if they're married, I don't think they have their son in the current books. I have not seen their son because they have a son named Joseph, who when he was first born, he had metamorphosis powers. And then in the Metamorph miniseries, he had him touch the Ober Ra, which is the same thing they gave him his powers and took away the powers from his son so he could be a normal kid. And now we're on Superman, which I think this is Josh Williams. I think this is his only time he's doing for DC right now, this book.
Yeah, because PKJ left to do Batman and Robin recently, and his last issue was it's okay. It was a decent wrap up, intergalactic conquest for survival.
Because I
It
think
was
his last issue for Green Arrow is going to be 350.
wait, isn't that issue 13? But it's going to be a legacy issue for 350.
Yes.
Okay, but
Yeah.
yeah, Doomsday escaping from hell. I believe that was set up in the backup of Action Comics. But yeah, Doomsday escapes hell.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Joshua Williamson. Oh, we got to do this before we read the solicit. Yes, Lois gets powers. This is, I believe, the second time this has happened in modern comics. This used to happen a lot in the Silver Age, where you had a lot of one-off anthology stories where Lois would have powers for a time. But I believe,
Technically, Josh Williamson, the first one in the last 20 years, dudes. The first person dudes was, believe it or not, Grant Morrison and also Superman. Then they did it again for Superwoman, but then she died in the opening issue. Except that was New 52 Lois, not pre New 52 Lois.
oh yeah, because they were trying to prop up Lana Lang as Superwoman, but New 52 Lois got powers due to New 52 Superman dying, and then she was killed by was it Brainiac or was it Bizarro? Was it her Bizarro counterpart?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was her Bizarro counterpart. Sorry, I haven't read a New 52 title in almost 5 years, so please forgive me.
Yeah.
But
Though in the case of Superwoman, that was actually Rebirth. That one.
oh, that was Rebirth. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I do find it interesting we have Dan Moria doing this book too.
Hold on, that's a variant. Okay, now
Yeah.
I see it now. Okay.
Yeah. But Dan Moria is doing the main cover and interior, which interesting. Williamson's working with Dan Moore because I don't think he's worked with him in any books I can think of before.
Who is the artist in Dark Crisis or Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths?
I don't remember. Let me look
Or
up.
was he the artist credit for both?
Let me look on here. Let's see. I still think based on Dark Crisis Infinite was a dumb idea.
Yeah, that was an obvious attempt to boost numbers. Like, we get it. You're resetting the status quo again with
Okay, the
another
artist
crisis.
was Daniel Semperi.
Oh, Daniel Simperi. Okay.
So I think like the only event that Dan Moore is working on was Absolute Power.
Oh, okay. Written by Joshua Williamson, art and internals by Dan Mora, variants by Jessica Fong, Dave Johnson, and Chris Samney, DC Winter Wonderland variant by Chrissy Zullo, and 1:25 variant by David Lapham.
And the book is 5
$4.99.
books.
Not too bad. Following Doomsday's fiery attack on Metropolis, Clark and Lois realize they have been so busy saving the world that they haven't had time together, so they plan an epic date night. What could go wrong? Well, for starters, a massive alien armada is bearing down on Earth looking for revenge against Superman. What secret has Clark not told Lois about the future? Oh, that's the solicit for the backup. Okay. Wait. So is this so is the Doomsday stuff getting wrapped up in November and this is afterward, or is this whole solicit for the backup?
Not sure.
Hmm. Absolute Superman issue number 2. Written by Jason Aaron, art and cover by Rafa Samdoval, variants by I'm not even going to try to pronounce either
Muhammad.
of them. Thank you.
Muhammad Asper.
And Mateus Mahini, Sanford Green, and yep. The Lazarus Corporation sent their most battle-hardened crew of peacemakers to locate the mysterious figure intervening with their mining operations. But they weren't expecting one motor-mouthed, iron-willed woman to be one of the one to finally get cuffs onto him. Wait, did they just make Superman but with Supergirl's origin to where he's older when Krypton's destroyed?
Possibly, but okay, the Les Corporation, I'm like, is that company run by Ra's al Ghul?
Possibly. I mean,
Ooh, it's a Detective Chimp. Love that cover.
hopefully this book. Apparently, Sovereign is going to be dragged out until issue 20. But I don't. I just don't. I'm not confident in the storyline. If I'm being honest.
I do love that cover. That's a really good cover.
Written by Tom King, art by Bruno Redondo and Kerry Randolph, cover by Daniel Sempier, variants by David Nakayama and Bruno Redondo, Winter Wonderland variant by Chrissy Zullo. As the war against Sovereign rages, a new mother, Wonder Woman, relies on her allies to chip away at this seemingly unshakable villain. His greatest weapon is his anonymity, but now is the time to expose the truth of the talents of the greatest detective of the DC universe. Detective Chimp swings into action for this banana adventure.
I like the
Sorry,
cover.
folks, I just wanted to look at the variants.
Yeah, the previous one is really weird. Like you have Chimp wearing a suit. Is that kind of weird for him? Like, why is he wearing a suit? For why isn't that wearing the outfit he know he wears?
Where look, I think they're trying to copy Hit Monkey.
From Marvel,
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised.
he was created by Gary Duggan. Oh, those of you know who created Detective Chimp, it was the same guy who created the Reverse Flash, Carmine Infantino. And when I told one time I was meeting with Neil Adams, he was more excited with him and just like Dark than Man Bat because he was a big Detective fan. It's surprising he never wrote a Detective book. Yeah, I'm gonna have like he loved this character.
Real shame. Real
Yep.
shame.
He passed away was about 2 years ago. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. He passed away.
About 2022. I think it was late 2021, early 2022, if I remember.
Yeah. I last saw him back in 2019 at Mid-Con Orlando. Great guy in person. I still think it's weird that Wonder Woman in this app's Wonder Woman, she's got a travel tattoo.
Not the biggest fan of Kelly Thompson, but hey, it's an Elseworld comic. I mean, so no real fan expectation.
Do you find it kind of weird that she has that tattoo?
It is kind of weird.
And yet no one's talking about this. People talk about the Batman logo, but no one talks about the fact that Wonder Woman's got a travel tattoo in this universe, and the fact their top of her outfit is her Jim Lee costume, minus the lines, and the bottom of the outfit looks different. I guess that's what it looks like to me. Because the way the W is, will switch all around like her top. That's New 52 Wonder Woman, designed by Jim Lee. It's like it took aspects of that plus some original ideas with this look. I do think it's weird that it seems like she has like a cape around her waist.
Written by Kelly Thompson, art and cover by Hayden Sherman, variants by Ariel Diaz, Chuma Hill, Danny, and another variant by Ariel Diaz. A harbinger is but a messenger. It is the tetracide that you must fear, for the tetracide leaves nothing behind. Diana's true enemy has been revealed, and it will take everything she has to save Gateway City from oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
Contrary to popular belief, although Diana is mostly not for being an ambassador and being a champion of the world, she has had a de facto city of origin or a de facto city to protect. That's rarely ever alluded to, but they did try to give Diana a city of her own to patrol a couple of times. I don't know if Gateway City was one of them, but it has happened.
Yeah, she's based all over the place. Based in DC, New York, London, Paris. Detective Comics 1092, written by Tom Taylor, art and cover by Mikhail Jenin.
Will Tom Taylor be an improvement from Ram V? From Ram V? Who's to say?
And I did tweet about this. Like, what is the plans of this book when we reach issue 1100? Because with this issue, we're only 8 issues away.
We'll know when we know. I believe Detective Comics is monthly now, correct?
I think so.
Ugh.
I remember one time, I remember this a few years ago, they had where 1 week was Batman and the following week was Detective. And they had Action and Detective come out the same week. Now it can never really tell when these issues come out half the time. You can't exactly predict it like you used to. The streets of Gotham are run with red blood. Blood that the mysterious villain known only as Asima is taking quite interest in. Who is this scalp figured creature collecting the plasma of young men? And what is Asima's connection to Bruce Wayne? Tom Taylor and Mikhail Jen continue exploration of darker scores of the Gotham City. I did read the final issue of Ram V's run, and it's Batman trying to. It looks like he's back with Catwoman, and he's about to put a lot of fires in Gotham City. That's the
And
last thing you see. And now we have Wade doing Action Comics.
with Mariko Tamaki.
I don't think she's a bad writer. It's just that sometimes, basically, some books she's given just may not fit her. I do like her work. It's just that sometimes some people like the like her work. People remember, okay, I don't think she's a terrible writer. I think she's good, not great. I think she's good. That's just my honest opinion.
Hit or miss, but definitely, even you have to admit that I Am Not Starfire comes across as a personalized revenge fantasy.
I've still never read it. I've only read her other work. I read books like I
Oh,
read Casey in April, her She-Hulk book, her Tita Comics book. I actually did enjoy her Tita Comics work. I read a lot of her other work, and just has not read that book.
I don't know if you'll ever read it, my friend, since you've avoided it this long, but it is unbearable. Definitely worth a review, but not a worthy read.
Mm-hmm. Artwork by Clayton Henry, Michael Schiffler, and Skylar Partridge. Cover by Clayton Henry. Variant covers by Sweeney Boo and Mikkel Jenin. I've been hearing somehow Sweeney Boo is getting a bit of a negative reception recently.
How so?
Well, I'm hearing the thing critical. He's not a big fan of hers. I don't know if it's a he or she for Sweeney Boo. because I
Mm.
think Sweeney Boo was the. I think she's currently the artist for Harley Quinn. Well, at least I had the first trade with the Tina Howard's run, which I think a run just wrapped up recently. I think because this month basically like wrapped up a lot of runs in the period of like a week. Like they wrapped up. I know Josh Williams' run for Batman Robin that wrapped up.
Wait, did that wrap up 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think so. I know Ram V's one for Tet Comics wrapped up. Green Arrow's got one more issue. I think Catwoman by Tina Howard that wrapped up recently. And I think her Harley Quinn wrapped up too. Few books writers wrapped up the runs.
Indeed.
And Zardesky has only been on the book for Batman for like 2 years now.
Yeah, I think so.
It came out with issue. I think it was like, if I remember, I think it was like 126. I think it was the first issue he wrote for the book. It was that first arc, Failsafe, which good arc. It's just that basically Failsafe stayed there longer than he should have.
Action com
Looks like this can focus on Supergirl.
Action Comics 1078. Written by Mark Waid and Mariko Tamaki. Art by Clayton Henry, Michael Shelfer, and Skylar Patridge. Cover by Clayton Henry. Variants by Sweeney Boo and Mikhail Jennings. And A.L. Kaplan and David Nakayama. Two worlds in peril. Only one can be saved. Teaming with his fellow Justice Leaguer, Mr. Terrific, to defend against Athir's deadly machinations. The Man of Steel is left on the defensive and out of options. Superman must choose which realm to save, Earth or the Phantom Zone. In the backup, Supergirl falls under the spell of concept.
Mm-hmm. Is this book still weekly?
I believe so.
And yet DC is charging $4.99 for it.
Oh, this is part of an event. Oh, this is the first event of the year. Okay. Action Comics 1079.
Not much change to the creative team except we have John Bodeva and Jason Sean Alexander doing variant covers.
Either that or this is a two-part story back-to-back.
Probably. Clayton Harry's not doing the interior for this one. It's Michael Scheffler and Skylar Patridge. They have
Wait, is this an all-star variant?
Possibly.
It's very reminiscent of All-Star.
Yeah. But one thing I noticed about Superman, he looks like he's very thin in the waist. And he's got big thighs. I like that third cover they had there.
Oh, let me
Not that one, the one before that one. The second one. That reminds me of almost like Golden Age Superman. The style of it.
I can see that. In a last-ditch attempt to save both Earth and the Phantom Zone from certain annihilation, Superman has been knocked for a loop and is only just now regaining consciousness. But what's that in the distance? The tiny silhouettes of every single Phantom Zone prisoner freed and heading straight for him. Uh-oh. Plus, the true villain behind Supergirl's mission reveals himself.
And now we have issue 1080 with the cover of Dead Superman. And Clayton Harris back in the interior for this one. What is up with John's hair?
Okay, hot take, but I feel like since they're having John being mentored by Nightwing during the whole Titans being propped up, that would have been a good opportunity to have John rebrand as Flamebird. Like, it was right there.
And maybe also Tom Taylor can actually ungay him or something, because I think him being gay is a really dumb idea. It's kind of dumb, but not as bad as outing Tim as bi.
Okay, by the time that what they did to Tim, they were definitely trying to strike lightning in a bottle twice, quote unquote. Both were shelf titles, but at least you can make the argument Son of Kal-El had a semblance of a story, even if John himself wasn't the main focus. Tim Drake Robin was just a disaster from beginning to end. Like, I'm sorry. Like, a mismatched creative team. The art was atrocious. The story was generic and not even about Tim really. It
And plus, they had one issue had good artwork. That's issue 7, and then went back to bad artwork for the rest of the series.
pretty much.
Yeah, and I still think to this very day, everybody thinks this too.
How do you guys think you would be as voice actors?
Hmm, I never thought of it. I been suggested maybe I myself could be a voice actor, but you have to go to school for that.
You do?
Yes, and I know some of my favorite voice actors. They actually do teach. I know Kyle Phillips. He teaches the classes. I think Stephanie Seif does one too. I think Carrie Eberly does one too. But they're kind of expensive.
Stop with the events. Like, geez Louise, I'm so sick of so many events when they serve no purpose. For the love of cheese, please. Okay.
Okay,
Events
well,
are,
for one thing, this event here, it's contained mostly in action. It's not spread out throughout the whole universe.
yes, this is not a line wide event. This is relatively self contained.
So I wouldn't call this event. I would more call it like a major story arc.
Yeah, that's a better description. I agree
And
on that.
plus, one thing we haven't seen so far, no crossover stuff.
We haven't. This is very streamlined for the most part.
I guess All In must have. I guess DC. I guess one of the things All In is. I guess like. I guess let's stop with the events. Brawl of the Superman as the Phantom Zone prisoners rain down upon the heroes. Only the House of L stands in the way, and Superman will not go down a fight. It's a brawl to end all super brawls in the penultimate of this action comics weekly. Plus, Supergirl makes a final appeal with the hopes of saving the universe. And I think this next issue here will be the finale for the story.
Yeah, because recently DC's been doing like these self-contained major story arcs where they're roughly 3 to 4 issues, like Joker Year One, Superman versus Bizarro recently back in Action Comics last year, or was that in Superman?
Possibly.
I'm pretty sure
I
that
think
was.
the reason why this is to probably bring back readers. It's kind of helping, but I've also heard recently from someone who was a comic shop that the comic industry is waning. The comics are waning recently because of board games.
Board
Like,
games?
yeah, board games are killing the comic industry because people like these better than reading comics. Like, there was a picture I saw from Gen Con where it looked packed. Like, apparently he had to pay a register ahead of time to play any of these board games. Like, there's a board game for running a supermarket. I'm like, I am not interested in this at all. And I think it's kind of dumb that this is what's killing comics.
Well, they're not really giving them anything. It's just shelf titles after shelf titles chasing headlines. And although you are selling a product, it all starts with an engaging story, a swashbuckler, an adventurer, a planeteer.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to the table. And yes, you can use comics for synergy or marketing purposes, especially with the rise of the MCU, but still give them something worth reading. Marvel fell into this trap relatively recently, and that's largely due to corporate hubris. But DC has barely any financial momentum to stand on. Hell, they're practically trillions of dollars in debt. So
And
I
also, I've heard this from Chuck Dixon. Apparently, no one is occupying their office. Warner
huh,
Bros. Told them to vacate it.
huh.
And for COVID, and they were not allowed back in their own office in Burbank, California.
Since COVID, so they haven't. So they've practically been working from home for the past 4 years.
Yes.
That explains a lot, actually.
Yes. But at least this event here, this major story, is interesting. The only thing I don't like about this is the fact that every issue is $5. So people are paying $20 for one series a month. That's equivalent to about 10, 20 comics ish for people to buy per month. But this is for one series.
I think House of Brainiac was like $4 if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but this is $4.99.
It's all led to this. Oh, it's the same. Okay, same story. It's all led to this. As the final battle between Aether's forces and the heroes of Earth reaches its climax, the Phantom Zone is changed forever, altered from the ground up and ready for new prisoners. But who of the super family will be amongst them? It's a shocking finale to the Action Comics Weekly, and you're going to have to read it to believe it. Plus, in the backup, Kara's perilous journey home begins.
So now we have. I think this is a new writer, Dan Winters.
Yes, Tom Taylor is finally off Nightwing. Thank God.
And I asked somebody asked him recently about Dan Winters. He's mostly done some horror books. He did, I think he did Lucifer. He did just like Dark Annual. Most of the book he's done horror stories, but he is a good writer. I've never read anything he's written be bad. Um, oh, he did do an Azrael book. He did a couple Azrael books. He did Sword of Azrael. He did Arkham Way of the World. So he has some experience doing superheroes, but I am curious of how he's going to do this title for Nightwing. But of course, it's $5 frickin'. Of course, it
Written
is.
by Dan Waters, art and cover by Dexter Soy. Oh, Gleb Melnikoff is doing one of the variants. Hold on, I think I recognize. Hold on, did I just miss it? Hold on. No, that wasn't it. I think it's the second one. I'll find it. But yes, Dan Panosian and Gleb Melnikoff are in variants. DC Winter Wonderland and another variant by Dexter Soy. After tragedy strikes, Nightwing seeks to hold the gangs of Bloodhaven accountable. But alliances in the city may not be what they seem, and powered up spheric police officers hover overhead, seeking to dispense their own brand of justice. Are they doing Magistrate, but with Bloodhaven's Magistrate?
Possibly. One thing I've noticed though for a lot of these solicits, it seems like almost everything is coming on Christmas Day.
Like people got
Or the week
gifts and
prior.
presents and family members. Who's got the time to rush over to the comic book store on Christmas Day of all days? I could see December 18th, but
If I were comic shops, I would if I were a comic shop and if comics released on Christmas Day, I would say okay, get the fact these comics released that day, come the next day.
yeah, that's the day after Christmas. If people got any money left, but that's a separate conversation.
Yes.
Batman and Robin issue number 16. Now, peak Phil Kennedy Johnson's World War Saga, solid writer, even with the Super Twins acting as a replacement for John. Standard writer, good stories, nothing against the guy.
Have you read his Hulk book?
I have read his Hulk book. It's fantastic. But I just feel like Batman and Robin was rushed purely for synergy for James Gunn's DCU because you still had a lot of story potential just from the death of Alfred alone, and everything just felt rushed. I probably would.
I'm hoping that at some point they bring him back because I think even Tom King realized though that kill him off was a mistake. It was not his idea to kill him off. It was his editor's idea to do that.
Yeah, but you're trying to meet a deadline to get the script approved in time, and sometimes you gotta bend the knee to editorial. Not to mention they need the justified reason for 5G because Batman Dark Detective was going to be Bruce's redemption arc after supposedly making a deal with Joker to kill Bane to avenge Alfred if we're going from the 5G files. And then Damian was going to go back to the League of Assassins. Again, this is strictly from the 5G files article from a few years ago. I have no additional source to confirm any of this. But the whole thing just felt like a bad idea. And that's all I'm going to say on that because there's like dozens of videos on YouTube that cover 5G way better than I could.
Yeah, one thing also in Batman tale, it seems like Batman's kind of got his riches back a little bit. Because he's basically still runs Wayne Enterprises, and Lucius Fox is no longer there. He's retired as
Wait,
CEO.
isn't he in New York with his family? Because after Joker War, they took Bruce's fortune, ran to New York, tried to do some humanitarian reform there, and then Jace became the next Batman during the whole future state 5G synergy over there. I don't
Yeah,
think
with
he's
he was featured recently in Batman flashbacks where he was in the hospital.
hmm
And a lot of people have said this, like, because this was mentioned in Tiniev's issue for Batman when at the Joker War, Bruce Wayne could easily ask Lucius Fox for his money back, but he hasn't yet.
easily like, hey, I know we had our differences. You were tortured, you were compromised and tortured by Punchline, but you made your point. Like, I want my money back. Now, me my position at Wayne Enterprises is one thing, but hey, that's not your money to take. I would like it back.
But so far, it hasn't happened yet because Bruce Wayne's living in Brownstone. He's not in Wayne Manor because it's owned by Vano Savage, which I think that was Ardesca's idea for Vano Savage to buy Wayne Manor. Which, because I was reading Gotham War, he's like, "What do you do in my cave?" And he's like, "My cave." So it's like Batman has no access to his own technology thanks to Vano Savage, which he doesn't appear in this title.
He does. But
Vano Savage does not. I have not seen him pop up in this book at all.
hmm,
He's only popped up in Batman. He doesn't
he
pop
has.
detective. He's only Batman. He's not pop detective. Not in this book. I get he doesn't pop in Nightwing because that's a different city. He's not Birds of Prey. It's like the Vano Savage thing is only as Ardesky, so it's like I think the books are just ignoring that.
For the most part, because for all intents and purposes, the Batman and Robin is just a rebrand of Williamson's Robin run. They just thought having Batman as a co-lead would sell the book better, which to an extent it has.
And I own the first trade for this, and the book is Williamson. Like one thing I at least appreciate with this book, and I'm so happy they did this. They gave Robin a car. Well, they gave Damian like like a
Dune
Mad
buggy.
Max, yeah, Doom buggy, but technically it was still a car because Batman says you're not doing that. He's like, okay, so give a freaking Doom buggy. But hey, at least
And
I
had
got
Red
a
Robin first.
motorcycle.
Excuse me. Sorry about that,
Which,
Nick. Please continue.
yeah, which because I don't know what DC's mindset is. It's like if it's not Batman, it's like all of his partners have to drive motorcycles, all of them, despite the fact that Barbara has driven a car. Damien has a car now. Love this variant cover here.
Oh,
Tim Drake had the Redbird. Um, Jason doesn't have. I think he has a motorcycle. He doesn't have a car. I think Dick has had a car, but it's like I guess some of DC editor is like only Batman can have a car, no one else can. But yet Williams still get away with it in the page of Batman and Rob because it's basically like it's Mad Max themed, but at least it's kind of a car. But I kind of wish they would give him his own car because I think he's up to own his own car.
written by PKJ, art by Miguel Mendonça. Apologies if I butchered that. Cover by Javi Fernandez. Variants by Simone DeMeo and Dan Panosian. And colon 25, 1 by 25 variant by Carmine I'm not even going to try to pronounce that.
I think he's Italian.
As the dynamic duo attempts to solve the mysteries of Memento from Doom Patrol. Never mind. Memento's recent attacks. Batman begins to fear that his bond with his son and partner is beginning to fracture. Is it simply teenage angst, or is Damian truly pulling away from his father? Meanwhile, Memento emerges from the shadows. The stone-faced specter of atrocities past makes himself known in the Gotham underworld. The only real critique I've had with this book, even if you're factoring the rebranding, is the fact that it's mostly through the art, I'm sure. But they keep trying to make Damian more into Tim. I don't know if it's just me or if it's just the
It could
art.
be, but he's also because Tim didn't have a hobby like Damien does. Because apparently Damien's an artist. Which that's interesting because nobody's ever explored anything like that for Damien before.
They haven't, even though I think the earliest rendition of Damian being an artist was in the New 52 Batman and Robin by Peter J. Tomasi.
Mm-hmm. But it's like this book basically goes into that. And Batman's very supportive. And look at this. Another Jack Kirby book basically making its return. The Challengers of the Unknown. Which someone think, oh, this is DC's rip-off of Fantastic Four. Even though they aren't. They made their debut a few years prior to Fantastic Four.
Yeah, the Fantastic Four debuted, I believe, in the late 50s, early 60s, and the
Fantastic
Challengers of
Four
the
61.
61, thank you. And the Challengers of the Unknown debuted in 1956.
I think so.
1956. It's about a 5 year. I know it's about a 5 year difference.
Yeah. And it's interesting though. Look at the members. Look like they include Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
And I think Flash right here. No, that's not Flash. Never mind. I think they added the Trinity here to help sell the book better.
Yes. Because here's the thing with Challenge the Unknown. Similar to Morpho, they're not the big of a characters outside the comics. And I like who they chose to write it, Christopher Chantwell. Because
Great choice.
he did really good for Iron Man. I was surprised when his run ended. They're only like, what was it, like 22 issues, I think it was?
It was.
Yeah, even had and the book was amazing. I am shocked the fact he's doing this because I knew nothing about this title. Because I'm like, really? They're doing this again? Because the last Challengers book that we had was New Challenges by Scott Snyder back in 2018.
During the, I think it was during the New Age of Heroes line after Death Metal.
Yes, it was canceled after only 5 issues due to low sales.
Written by Christopher Cantwell, art by Sean Izaski, cover by Mike Deodato Jr., variant covers by Taryn Clark, Danny Earls, Gleb Melnikoff, and Dan Mora. Oh, $3.99. Spinning out of absolute power in DC All in Special #1, the terror of the dark side shockwave has cascaded across the DC universe, tearing open the very fabric of time and space itself. Only one brand of super scientists have the right stuff to challenge the fate of a universe. Enter the Challengers of the Unknown. Alongside the Justice League, where the Challengers run day-to-day operations for the massive Watchtower base orbiting above Earth. Ace Morgan, June Robbins, Professor Haley, Red Ryan, and Rocky Davis must team up with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the rest of the League to seal the rifts that have threatened the galaxy. But a mysterious new foe from the Challenger's past lurks in the shadows, and its connection to the God Shock will put the DCU on borrowed time.
It is interesting. I like the description for that one.
Superwoman Special #1, probably an amalgamation of the stories from November.
We'll find out. Let's see. No, I think it's the original one shot. Doesn't say it's collection yet.
You would think so. I mean,
yeah, but this is interesting. This is the first Superwoman title release since the end of the cancellation of the previous Superwoman title.
Yeah, back in Rebirth. I think it lasted 9 issues.
18.
18, my mistake.
Yeah. The Ultimate is left after issue 9. The Randy issue done by somebody else.
Written by Joshua Williamson, art and cover by Edwin Galman, variants by Dave Wilkins, Elizabeth Torque, Mark Spears. Oh, and then the artist who does internals did a foil variant as well. Nick, you want to take this one?
The amazing story of how the Daily Planet editor-in-chief Lois got superpowers to become Superwoman is finally told. What does it mean for the matriarch of the super family to fly alongside her family and friends, and how long will these powers last? Who wants these powers themselves? Guest starring The Atom, Mr. Terrific, Supergirl, and Super Banshee.
Oh yeah, she is dating Jimmy.
Yeah, it's $6. 48 pages, $6.
for a one shot.
I would have thought it'd be $4.99, but $6?
That's pushing it. I could easily see five, but six is kind of pushing it, don't you think?
Yeah.
Cassandra
Uh,
Cain is actually getting a solo Batgirl series, and it's been a long time coming.
I think she last had one in 2008. Well,
Well, since the
last
new
book
52.
basically that was miniseries, but last ongoing was '06. And I heard it was canceled because it was moderately successful, despite the fact of her was very popular at the time when the book got canceled.
Then editorial tried to sabotage. Uh, I believe this is the whole Beecham fiasco. He did get a chance to redeem himself in a later book, but yeah, that was a mess.
I heard he took a lot of flack for turning her evil.
That's pretty much that's the gist of it. I could go into the full story, but we'd be here all night.
This is a funny issue of The Outsiders where um, where you have a couple of the Outsiders talk, and then here's Cassie wearing nothing, and people ask like, "Are you cold? No. Are you out of towels? No." And just walks off. As for why she did this, don't really know. Written by Tate Brombo, artwork by Takashi Mizawa, cover by David Kolosky, variant cover by Jorge Jimenez, our variant cover by Skylar Petridge.
With Lady Shiva gravely wounded and Batgirl refusing to join her mother's cause, the two seek refuge in the unlikeliest of places while the mysterious unburied, continue to hunt them. Just as their deadly leader finally emerges from the shadows. Lives are at stake, but it wouldn't be a killer face-off without some casualties. Gotham City Sirens Uncovered, issue number 1.
And it's not a it's a cover gallery book.
Hmm. Cover gallery. You would think this would be a collection from the weekly miniseries they did a few months ago.
Actually, just wrapped up just recently. I think this is basically the covers of the original book.
Hmm.
Now that's a nod to issue 1 of the original book. Though for some reason they give Catwoman a new costume because she didn't wear that in the previous volume. I think she wore that recently. That's her new outfit, which shows some more cleavage for her.
Yeah, and I think
Ivy, of
she's
course, is wearing her pre-flashpoint look.
yeah, and I think she's currently on the run in her book.
Yes. Harley Quinn issue 46. Written by
Elliot,
somebody who is not that big of a name, Elliot Non. Kalon.
art by Mindy Lee, cover by Elizabeth Torque, variants by David Nakayama and Jorge Forns. Harley Quinn has always been kind of all over the place. You never, it's very zany, and you never really know what you're gonna get.
That cover with her as a postwoman is funny. But for 4.
Oh,
That one. That's funny. Yeah. But I'm curious because the book is not been released yet. This run, I don't think it's released yet. I could think of.
no, I think from our
So,
previous videos, I think it starts either this month or in November.
yeah. So we don't know exactly what's going to go on in this book. So
This
I
run is still going. Sorry, I know we have to read the solicit, but I'm surprised the Poison Ivy book went this long.
28 issues. I mean, she's only. I mean, she's popular. People love her.
Yeah, but usually villain solo series don't last very long, like a volume or two at best.
You like Penguin
Touche.
or Joker.
Okay, you made your point, Nick.
Well, the recent Joker book, not The Man Stopped Laughing. The previous book lasted 17 issues, which I think is Joker's longest book.
It is.
It's longer even his original volume as book from the 70s, which originally was 9, and they published 10 years later. The only do the Harley one?
Sure, go ahead.
Ladies and gentle girls, are your engines burning for violence, malfeasance, and mayhem? Look no further. This issue of Harley Quinn available for pre-order right now. breaking the fourth wall in this solicits. I, interpreter. Oh, basically, this book is a Mad Max ripoff.
Okay.
Imperiosa, which Furiosa, agent of the aggressive local realtors of Troca Hill, emerge and embargo all internet purchases in our disgusting corner of Gotham. Henceforth, no more convenient internet realtors flood our streets with their express mail trucks and fill our recycle bins with empty card boxes. Embargoed. Watch out. Because it got some serious road rage. I can't wait to unleash. Sit the wheel in here and I'm gonna blow up your truck. What in the heck is this?
I I don't know.
A
I
ban
just
on internet orders. That sounds so stupid.
I just don't know.
Ivy, issue 28. Written by G. Will Wilson, art by Mark Artura, cover by Jessica Fong, Frank art by Jennifer Ferguson, Pablo Vargas, David Akiba, and Night Zong. At least got praised after this much. At least the price has not changed this book.
How come the Ivy book flew under the radar? Your lack of promotion. That's all I can say on that. Cinema
And yet
King.
the book is still published.
And you also said copycat metahuman that's been committing crimes across the globe. People call him the GOAT. He has started crimes in Gotham revolving around two things. These are unique illnesses and madness. Criminals like the Joker or Penguin see an opportunity to create crime. It is up to Batman to save and stop the villain by whatever means. Okay.
Well, did you know France has their own variant of the Joker called the Man Who Laughs?
Also know the Batman who tries too hard, but that's a separate conversation.
Yeah, and he's appeared once in the final issue of Batman Robin Volume 1. And the book was never printed reprinted in the trade.
No, it has not.
I
There
don't
is
know why.
something.
It's weird.
There is something stirring in the world, a primordial force that has been reawakened by the one and only Pamela Isley, and another that is very unhappy about the former's return. Ivy's fight against the Order of the Green Knights sends her down a strange and horrifying path when she discovers that her actions have had a far wider impact than she had ever dreamed.
Catwoman 71. And this
Written,
is currently the third longest volume of the entire series. You
yep,
realize that?
I I just now realized that. Thank you.
Her second volume was 94 issues. Volume 3 was 83. And this is like 12 issues off that. So there's a strong possibility this could be the longest volume of the entire Catwoman series. If DC still publishes it, not canceling them soon.
Hopefully,
Written
it
by
is.
written by Torn Grubba, who is Norwegian. And I believe she's the co-writer for Venom.
Art by
Without Ewing.
Art by Marina Inazi, cover by Seba Fuimara, variants by Frank Choi and Lee Bermejo, and David Nakayama. Oh, and Nubovich. What's one Catwoman between good friends? Selena's international hunt brings her to Stockholm in search of an old acquaintance who has become a crime lord there. Of course, she's pretty sure he might be the one who put a price on her head, so she's going to need to sneak in if she wants to get answers. Luckily for this cat, there's a fancy dress party that's the perfect opportunity to slip in unnoticed.
Birds of Prey 16.
Admittedly, I have fallen off from this book. I just couldn't get into it. Like the first arc was fine, and then the first arc was fine, but after Amazon's attack, I was just kind of burned out with it.
Hmm.
Written by Kelly Thompson, art by Sammy Bazzari, Leonardo Romero, Serg Acuna, Ryan Gonzalez, and Travis Mercer. Did you ever wonder what happens when small bat gets big? What and whatever would Big Barda have to say about it? Meanwhile, five Amazons' lives are on the line, and oh, the entire Birds of Prey field team is caught in a twist no one could have anticipated.
Hmm.
Batman
That
and Robin, Year One. Nick, I'll let you have this one.
written by Mark Waid and Chris Simony, who also does the artwork. Interesting way he's doing this one, given the fact he's doing Justice League. Um, the General makes his move, committing a series of bizarre crimes that turn Gotham's underworld factions against one another, leaving little in the way of clues for Batman. While things about Dark Knight are even worse, Bruce Wayne and his teenage ward Dick Grayson. But when Batman and Robin are once again called into action, their inability to get on the same page against the murder of their family and Two-Face costing them their lives. Those of you who don't know who the heck the General is, he's a character created by Chuck Dixon being villain for Tim Drake, who Mark Waid has now made into a Dick Grayson villain for some reason.
Because Tim can't stand on his own 2 feet, apparently.
Yeah, and when he made his debut, he was a child who had stars shaved into his head. And his mother believed his delusions of grandeur, so his family hated him.
Hmm. Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, Issue 4. Rest in peace, Tim Saley.
I really wish I could have met the guy before he passed away. I have met Jeff Loeb. He's a nice guy to me in person.
Variants by Cliff Chang. Apologies if I butchered that. And Ian Churchill.
Who does the interior for the book, which is he is a good artist. I do like him. I do like his artwork. It is interesting he's doing this book because I don't remember if he's done a Bat book before.
I don't think so either.
I think Ian Churchill has, but I don't think Cliff Chang has.
In 1996, writer Jeff Loeb and artist Tim Saley teamed up for Batman The Long Halloween, an award-winning 13-chapter saga that spawned multiple sequels and stands as one of the most influential Batman story of its era. Now, Loeb returns to the world of The Long Halloween for its long-anticipated final act, Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, an all-new 10-part mystery continuing the story of 2020 from 2021's Batman Long Halloween special. In this issue, Loeb will be joined by one of the top artists in comics in a beautiful and lovely crafted tribute to Saley's art and legacy. And this is the 4th issue of that. And this was monthly. So I believe the first issue came out. I think the first issue either came out this coming month, or last month.
I think it was last month.
Last month. Okay, thank you.
Dark Patterns.
Dark Patterns #1. Oh, by Dan Waters, art by Hayden Sherman. Oh, so they're working alongside Nightwing. I believe this is an anthology series.
Yes.
Nick,
Set in the early years of Batman's career, Batman Dark Patterns delves into 4 mysterious cases that he attempts to cement his place as Gotham City's protector, while the city itself fights back against him. This is why the Dark Knight Detective, at his most stripped down core, a man relying on his own wills, his skills, and little else, has tackles the most twisted mysteries of Gotham City and the protector ever encountered. Case 1. We Are Wounded. A series of gruesome murders has sent shockwaves throughout Gotham. Are these random works of a serial killer, or something more sinister at play? Batman is going to get to the bottom of the mystery before anything becomes more acclaimed.
Thank you, Nick. Batman,
Yes.
The Brave and the Bold, issue 20, featuring Satana and Batmite.
Which I should point out, though, that the only feature in this entire book has been collected in trade is the winning card storyline. And that's the only thing releases. I have not seen any more trades that collect anything from this series, which makes no freaking sense. Everything else gets trades, but yet this has only had one, collecting one story arc and nothing else.
Real shame, really. Okay, Ty Templeton, Simone DeMeo, Dave Welagos, apologies if I butchered that, and Michael Conrad. Art by Ty Templeton, Savadia, and Nicola Chismaiza, and Christopher Mitten. Apologies if I butchered that. Zatanna and Batmite's unexpected history is revealed in a time hopping feature story from Ty Templeton. Plastic Man and Wonder Woman have infiltrated the Mirror House in search of the stolen lasso of truth. But will they ever make their way out? Animal Man's unexpected team up reaches its stunning conclusion. Batman awakens to find himself with a tattoo. But why is it spreading? Find out in this thrilling final issue. Yeah, if we're having Batman Dark Patterns, it's only natural we're gonna they're wrapping up Brave and the Bold. They're
Yeah,
just swapping
20
out one.
issues is interesting number.
Hmm.
A Two-Face book.
Hey, more villain solo series by the day. Who knows? This might actually become a trend.
Yeah, written by Christian Ward, who wrote the Batman City Madness book. Artwork by Fabio Veras. Cover by Bedmar Revels. I think for Two Face, this is actually his third book he's had.
Yes, because he was a lead in Task Force Z. He briefly had a stint in a storyline in Detective Comics prior to Ram V's run, if I remember correctly. And this would be number 3.
Mm-hmm. There's also Two Face Year One.
Oh, yep, that one too. After years of internal conflict. Oh, they don't show the price on this one. Hmm.
Interesting.
After years of internal conflict, both halves of Harvey Dent have reached an uneasy peace. Now Harvey will use his skills as an attorney to resolve the conflicts of Gotham's weirdest and most dangerous criminals, starting with Victor Zsasz. When Zsasz is accused of murdering a fellow member of Gotham's underworld contingent, who's better to prove a criminal's innocent than someone who's been on both sides of the law? Superman's World's Finest, issue 34. Seriously, this book was the highlight of the Infinite Frontier label, like arguably the most selling book during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And to see it fall off like this, granted, it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just fallen off.
And Dan Moria stopped doing the interiors.
Yep.
It's a shame. I think it's his covers.
Yep. Hold on, let me scroll down. Yep, Dan Moore did agree to do the cover, but he's not doing internals. The internals are done by Franton Galen, variants Yannick Paquette, and Mike Dedato Jr. Oh, and Vasco Jarive and Dan Nakayama. Yeah, this is a Super Pets issue. Yeah, all right, I'll read it. The Super Pets have gone berserk. Metropolis and Gotham City stand on the verge of ruin, and the world's only hope is the Batgirl and Olsen team. It's a comedy of terrors. As wait, is that a flying monkey with a red cape? I guess it's in one of the variant covers. Titans issue number 18. Now, Nick, I genuinely wanted your opinion on this one. I mentioned it earlier in the stream, but Tom Taylor, despite the Titans, new standing with the league's disbandment after Dark Crisis, Tom Taylor didn't really do anything with it, and I genuinely wanted your opinion on that.
Yeah. I mean, the book has been interesting so far. Plus, he gave them something they never had before. A kind of like a museum on the moon in the shape of Titan's Tower. I thought that was a really interesting idea. And after that issue wrapped up, it never showed up again.
A real shame.
Mm-hmm.
And Roy took Wally's place on the team since Wally is back with the Justice League. So Roy took his place.
Yep.
Written by John Layman, art by Pete Woods, variants by Edwin Galman and Vasco Jarive, or Georgiev. So much for the Titans, one big happy family. Raven is acting strangely. Again. Cyborg is keeping secrets, and Arsenal is working on everyone's last nerve. It would be a really bad day for the Titans to be attacked, wouldn't it? JSA issue 2 under the new creative team, Jeff Lemire and Diago Oltergu. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that.
And it looks like on the cover, looks like we have Jade and Obsidian arguing.
Nick, I know you're a decent JSA fan. You want to take this one?
Yep. Cover by Kelly Hammer. Variant covers by Jeff Lemire and Leonardo Fernandez. Those are probably thinking, wait, Lemire is an artist? Yes,
Yep.
he is. He hasn't done it in a long time. He actually has done a couple books basically done art for. I think he's more known for being a writer than an artist.
He is, but Lemire has done a few has done a few artwork and covers from time to time.
Yep. Flashing back to the previous issue of the JSA investigate a break-in at the observatory of Ted Knight, the original Starman. How was the J separated? Where is Tower of Fate? What caused the rift between Jay and Obsidian after disappearing disappearance of father, Greenwich Allen Sky? And what is the Justice Society of America plotting? Okay. So now we're on a Tom King book. Oh, it's
Okay.
a Black Canary. I'm sorry if I doze off. It's getting we're getting
Yeah,
close. We're getting close to wrap. We're about halfway through this.
Wait, we're just now at halfway. Like, seriously, this is the longest catalog. I don't think any of our previous solicitation videos have been this long.
Yeah. And
Black.
I'll look at your scroll thing. Looks like we're about halfway now. Written by Tom King, art by Ryan Snook. Variant cover, Lennox. Variant cover, Kamal Hill. After the Zarius first round, Black Canary takes her corner and her couch. How could she ever face herself for a match again against Lady Shiva? The answer is simple, but knows best. The original Black Canary is back, ready to train her daughter.
For the fight of their lives. Sorry about that.
Yep. So the original Black Canary is back. Interesting. Despite the fact she's supposed to be dead.
I think this is a self-contained book.
Yes. Black Lightning. Written by Brandon Thomas. Though they gave him... Well, look at the cover. He looks like the way he does in the TV show.
Yeah,
Like
synergy.
Yeah.
And
some characters are all like that, but him I have less issue with than other characters because it was Black Lightning's first live action series. Of course, basically, they go with the actor played on the TV show. But $5 for 20 pages? That's expensive.
it is. Still struggling to move past the traumatic events of absolute power, Black Lightning's family is dealt a crushing blow after the reveal that his eldest daughter, Anissa, has lost control over newly altered powers. Between his elevated responsibilities in the Justice League and his commitments to the community, and now needing to help his daughter, Jefferson Pierce just might crack under pressure.
The Flash, issue 16. Written by Cyrus Spurrier, artwork by Vico Gregorov, cover art by Mike Del Mundo, rank cover is by Deke Ruin, Matea de Ilus, and Christy Zulo.
As the family continues their time in Scatartus, something is causing some serious seismic shakes. But is the cause of the quake somehow sinister? Also, Jay discovers how his abilities have evolved.
Yeah, so now they're in Warlord. Ooh, I love that cover for Jeremy Adams' Green Lantern.
Which surprising, I did not expect this run to kick off as well as it did. Granted, Jeremy Adams did save Wally West as a character, but God, I mean, this is the best Green Lantern run we've gotten in about, I would say, since in the past 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Greg Geoffrey Thorne, his book focused on none of the main Green Lanterns. It focused more on Teen Lantern and Frontier Lantern for his book.
And I think
I don't mind Frontier Lantern, but I don't really give a damn about Teen Lantern.
Excuse me, folks. Written by Jeremy Adams, art and cover by Zamasio, variants by Mark Spears and David Nakayama, and lyrics. Tharos has arrived on Oa, hell bent on destroying everything in his wake, with only Hal Jordan and the other lanterns to stop him. Meanwhile, Rayner uncovers the secret of the Source Lantern as Varon moves to gain its power for his own. The Green Lantern universe flies toward a new status quo as our heroes contend with the nefarious forces gathered against them.
So Kyle's going after the first lantern. That's who Varon is. He's
The first lantern. Okay.
yeah. He was a creation, I think, of Jeff Johns as a villain for a crossover known as Wrath of the First Lantern, where he died, and then Sam Humphries did a story to explain his backstory. I didn't know I saw him again after he wrapped up his run.
Wait, wasn't that in Green Lantern Corps with Jessica Cruz and Simon Bass?
It was Green Lanterns.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any idea who Chris Condon is? I'm not familiar with the name.
I am not familiar with his work either, but I'm willing to give him a shot. Green Arrow issue 19.
Mm-hmm.
As Oliver Queen is forced to ask tough questions about the origins of the freshwater environmental disaster, the freshwater killer moves towards their next target. With time running out before another murder rocks the city, the Emerald Archer runs into surprising resistance into his investigation.
Ooh, a great.
Nice.
And I like the fact Jerry Adams writes this. Good choice on the part of DC to do that. Dan Moore doing the cover. Lucas Meyer and Travis Mercer on the main artwork. Variant cover is by Howard Porter, V. Karen Moran, and Crystal Kang. And it seems like the first cover is like 70s Green Lantern and Green Arrow from Neil Adams and Daniel O'Neill.
At the very least, it's a tribute to them. At the very least.
Since they both since passed away. Once again, $6 for a 48-page comic.
You're gonna be kidding. Everyone's favorite hard traveling heroes are back and brought to you through the iconic lens of the world's finest. In the not too distant past, Oliver Queen and Hal Jordan find themselves at a crossroads, and only teaming up together once more will save them from the scope of a mysterious bounty hunter known in whispered tones throughout the underworld as Deathstroke the Terminator. Plus, writer Jeremy Adams returns to the world of the Flash to weave a twisted tale of Barry Allen on the road to crisis. It's a world finest adventure. You cannot miss this special, oversized one-shot spectacular.
Power Girl issue 16, written by Leah Williams.
Somebody please cancel this book at this point. There's no saving it. I'm sorry.
And I'm glad, like, I gotta say this again about the costume. I'm glad they kept the boob window, but why can't they just keep the costume the way it was? Why give her pants? She was fine with her costume the way it was.
No comment.
Yeah.
No comment.
And it's something though. She gets a solo book, but not Supergirl.
With the secrets of Metropolis' mysterious new hero out there, Power Girl now has all she needs to take her rival down once and for all. Will she prevail as she seeks revenge for Omen? Or does Ejecta have one final surprise up her sleeve? Wait, Ejecta? You might as well make this Galatea. You know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. Nick, take over for Shazam issue number 18, please.
Written by Josie Campbell, art by Dan McDodd, cover art by Glam Melgolf, a variant cover by Javier Polito and Azami. The Society app isn't just infecting Philadelphia. Okay. That comic came out. I was trying to read the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
But infecting Philadelphia's brotherly hatred. The users are the hosts to these of the parasite. Mr. Mind, Freddie Freeman, aka the Commander, is no exception. With the combined efforts of the whole Shazamly, that should be Shazam family, that Shazam Lee, being up to free him with a second secret follower watching Billy Betson's family. How close, Mr. Mind, Shukar's successor? Yeah, it's an interesting effect about Mr. Mind. He's more violent now.
Yes. And for that, Nick, to respond to that previous question, in the future, how are we going to look at these three eras? Infinite Frontier, Dawn of DC. Future State was just a salvaging of 5G. Dawn of DC was just a rebrand that inevitably imploded with Night Terrors. God, that event was awful. And Infinite Frontier, a good step in the right direction, but ultimately imploded with Dark Crisis. It just
Yeah, and Future State led into Infinite Frontier.
so
The question along the Watchtower, number 2. The book that focused on Renee Montoya, the question, not Vic Sage, which I have no problem with either.
wait, didn't Sage get killed off in the early 2000s?
He got killed off 52, then he came back and Bendis' Action Comics run with no explanation came back. And then he popped up in the Lois Lane book by Greg Rucka, which he still didn't explain how they came back. If you're curious, came back, read the Black Label book that basically explains it. It's almost like he's just wanted to tell why he wanted back. Oh, read the adult comic. As Justice League Watchtower reels from a gruesome murder, the question must face a dark reality. The main suspect of the brutal crime must be someone close to her. But Renee digs into the unsavory mystery. She is derailed by unexpected power from a new foe. But the killing surprise tag related? If so, who's pulling the strings? The question must navigate clues and double crosses to get the truth if she can survive that long. Miles Universe Shadow Cap number 2.
I hope one day DC makes peace with the McDuffie estate and we get the milestone characters incorporated in DC proper again. But until that day, I'm content with this. Written by Joseph Illich, art by Daryl Banks and Atagan Elan, Dennis Cowan, and Nicholas Draper Ivy. Oh, this is a miniseries. The assassin Sancton has his sights set on Paris Island with the goal of eliminating the Blood Syndicate once and for all. Meanwhile, Rocket seeks out Static in hopes of recruiting him for the upcoming war against System. But after everything Virgil's been through as of late, he's not exactly the upbeat, wisecracking kid he once was. Can Rocket convince him of the dynamic team-up she envisions, or does this spell the end of Static's heroic exploits? DC Horror presents.
It's a horror book. Looks like it features like a scary Wonder Woman.
In this very special and spooky artist writer issue, horror comics legends Francisco Francaliva and Patrick Horvath write and illustrate two frightful stories set in the DCU. Come see Adam Strange's adventures become a lot stranger as he brings parasitic dirt to Earth and the planet Ron. And what else lies in store? You'll just have to see if you dare.
I think the first issue just came out.
DC Horror presents Creature Commandos number 3. Nick, you want to take this one?
Yeah. The instrumental Vincent Belligerro in the little spot is taking on a mega church hellbent on purification, which for vampires means baptism in daily sunlight. Meanwhile, back in the present, Wanda sneaks into one of the lab's private rooms and makes some chilling discoveries. I read the first issue of this; it's quite interesting. Thanks for audition of Flash Comics number 1, debut of Jay Garrick and Hawkman.
You want to read the synopsis for this one, or just
Oh
keep
my
going?
gosh. $7 for this damn thing.
What?
A facsimile book.
This is a reprint.
A book that was released in 19, I think like 41, I think it was.
I want to say 1941. I could be wrong. Actually, it's the debut of JSA, Hawkman, and Johnny Thunder.
Yep.
And this is the
Crisis. A facsimile edition.
Christ on Infinite Earths, Green Lantern 59,
$5.
the
That's
debut.
fine.
Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, that was that one's better.
Yeah, the debut.
Debut of Guy Gardner. Which according to original story, he was original choice. He was gonna be the backup choice if Hal Jordan was available. That's according to what I've heard. Okay.
And the Silent Night, sequel to the Batman and Santa Claus team up from last year.
With Batman looks like he's having sitting on a table with Entering a Demon, Dead Man, Felix Faust. And I can't tell who the guy next to Etrigan is. Do you recognize him?
No, I do not.
I don't either.
To find the missing Justice League, Klaus, Claus, Zatanna, and Robin will brave the greatest terror of the holidays, a Christmas party.
Mhm.
You are cordially invited to a winter solstice gathering of the strange and oft deadly magical community at the Georgetown mansion of Baron Winters. One guest limit. After a performance by sirens and banshees, we will gather in Baron's study, where noted demonologist Jason Blood will be giving a reading on the origins of being the so-called Silent Night.
Okay, those who don't know who Baron Winters is, he is a character created by Marvel and the late Gene Colan for the minis for the series Night Force. He appeared in all three books, even the New 52 relaunch book, which called Book One, but they never published Book Two. This is the next issue. How about Jeff Parker? Isn't that interesting?
I believe so. Batman and Santa Claus, Silent Night Returns, issue number 3. We're not going to sugar plum coat it. The situation is dire. The Justice League is trapped in the Hollow Kingdom, hunted by monsters and skeletons. Innocents everywhere are falling to the Silent Knight's sword, including a hero everyone was counting on. Right when Claus looks to have an edge, he goes missing. To be honest, the only way we see this turning around is if Satana pulls something really good out of her hat.
Issue 4.
Is that Harley Quinn?
Yes. Looks like you have Mary Marvel. Oh
The
my
Doom
gosh, you
Patrol?
have Aquaman there. I'm like, I would see Damien there too. I would see Satana flying.
Satana,
Oh, that's
Mary,
Metamorpho.
Satana, Mary Marvel. Oh, that's Metamorpho. I thought you said that was Aquaman. That's
Yeah,
Metamorpho.
yeah. Close up, it's oh, that's a robot man underneath him.
Yeah, that's Robot Man.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Which the thing of him is, people kind of know who he is thanks to the Doom Patrol TV show.
Hmm. Robin and
It seems like this is a weekly limited series.
I think so. Robin and Zatanna's fortunes change as they accompany the most awesome rescue team in Christmas history. Mary Marvel, Robot Man, Metamorpho, Etrigan the Demon, following the greatest tracker of the North, Mrs. Claus. All our heroes come together in the Hollow Kingdom, where the Silent Knight has gathered his forces and enough power to take his final form. The epic showdown battle of the year comes in under the wire this December. And the finale, Silent Claus, Batman, Santa Claus, Silent Night Returns, issue number 5.
Released on Christmas Day.
At year's end, every choice will affect the lives around the world. 7 heroes stand before the monstrous hordes of the Silent Night. Seven heroes enter the mysterious castle hold of the Hollow Kingdom to face a true test of true spirit and will. Ask yourself, which team will you be on? What skill, power, or knowledge will make the difference against this existential threat? What does solstice mean anyway? Did this series maybe just go a bit harder than you expected from your holiday special? Good. Whatever the Yule brings, please have a happy new year from the DC Universe.
Justice Green Lantern Dark number 2.
Written by Tate Bromball, art and cover by
I think
what
it's the same writer as Catwoman.
I think so as well. Art and cover by Weather Deldera, variants by Reiko Murakami, Dustin Nugent, and Kathy Kwan.
This is bi-monthly. It comes out once every 2 months.
Hmm.
So I think I know which Green Lantern they have in this book. I think it's Green Lantern from the Tangent Universe.
From the what universe? Can you repeat that?
Tangent.
Oh.
See, look, the Lantern.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's where she's from.
Okay.
I'm,
Rena Moore. Oh,
it's something to give her a series. It takes them, like almost 20 years after her debut to get her own book.
well, really, it's a mini series, but yeah, it had. I'm surprised too. I may have only heard of this character in passing.
I think she had a one shot, but she never had an ongoing. She never had a series.
Well, let's rehearse and find out. Rena Mori never asked for the Green Lantern's flame, nor the responsibility that came with it. But no good deed goes unpunished, and Rena's ousting of Solomon Grundy from the town of Lantern's Light begets others who seek her aid. A desperate mother emerges from the thick New England woods seeking reinforcements against the ferocious beasts that stalk the streets of her home and steal children under the cover of night. Lunette, Rena's young and extremely self-appointed mentee, is eager for another chance to play hero because she's just naive enough to believe the dark and dangerous world they live in could change for the better. But the Green Lantern herself will take far more convincing. And of course, another Dark Knights of Steel ripoff all winter with Mr. Freeze.
Yep.
I want to say this is Mr. Freeze. Yep.
Yeah, this is the end of it.
Okay. Wait,
War.
wasn't DC versus Vampires World War V issue number 5? Wait, wasn't Batgirl killed off in the first issue?
I think so. I think that's Batwoman.
Hmm. And this is halfway through the comic, so I guess DC versus Vampires is monthly.
Yes. Nice House by the Sea. James. I think this is another book James Tinn's working for DC. Last Make No War. Or the first issue of this. Really good.
Batman Gargoyle of Gotham.
This is a bizarre book.
Jenny Sparks issue number 5.
It's not a bad book.
Batman Full Moon issue number 3. Batman's Jingle Bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg.
Yes, it's a take on that thing. Written by Marv Wolfman, Alexis Corsillo, Drew Morley, James Reed, Calvin Grosky, Rick Sanchez, Orduro Quick, and Zephyr Smith. Of all these writers, Marv Wolfman is the only name Raider People Power would recognize. Artists: Paul Politer, Andrew Drillin, ML Severo, Maria Izagagi, Michelle Trujillo Vargas, Anthony Marcus, Aaron Carley. Same thing with Paul Politer. He's kind of the same thing, which he's kind of a known name, but not as big as Mark Wolfman. Francis Foucault, people know who he is. Brian Wismo, yes. Lee Bergero, yes. Santa Fong, no.
Hold on,
80 pages.
I think I can do the whole verse. Hold on. Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile had lost a wheel and the Joker got away.
Yeah, there's another one that was really weird where the ending is so disgusting. It's like a rap. Batman's in the kitchen. Robin's in the hall.
Yeah, I could easily see someone making a full Christmas verse out of it.
Yeah, it's so weird. And Joker is like doing his business in the wall. I'm like, what? Yeah, it's kind of disgusting. That's why I don't want to bring it anymore.
Yeah,
Little Batman number two, which this is a nod to Detective Comics number 27.
hmm.
40 pages, and it's $5. That's not bad.
Wait, is this tied to Merry Little Batman or is this a standalone?
Standalone.
Hmm.
Batman Scooby Doo Mysteries.
Hey, Phantasm appears in this one, so Scooby Doo, where are you?
I don't read it. Ah, the trade for
Page.
absolute power.
Cadmus was better. Sorry, I've been holding that in for 2 months.
Yeah, a book that was literally of Cannabis and Legends. That's literally what this book is. 30 pages. Let's see. Probably contains a 4-issue miniseries, maybe the all-in special, right?
I think it's everything from ground. Okay, it includes the main 4-issue series and the special Ground Zero issue. The brand.
HubSpot Origins got a separate trade.
Oh, okay. Because the rest were one shot, so I think they're all going to be consolidated into this.
Yeah, it doesn't say what's in it. This list doesn't say that. Same thing with this one too. Absolute Power Task Force V. 8. Actually, 7. Mystic U freshman year. Oh my gosh! Finally collecting this in trade.
Yeah, this is a deep cut. This book came out years ago.
Came almost 10 years ago. Originally, this was supposed to be ongoing with me, 3-issue miniseries. Came out like 2015, I think it was. I wonder what took so long to put this in the trade.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Oh, it's a book focused on Harley's hyenas.
Harley Quinn, but Bud and Lou. DC, oh, the compact line. I heard these were coming out where they consolidate key storylines.
Yeah, and the book's kind of small.
Still, all of DC's in 216 pages.
Yeah, and it's $10. Oh,
Static.
everybody Static Shock in that one. Interesting.
Hmm.
$10. Birthright.
Interesting.
Ilology. I heard about this one. I think this collects the entire run for Batwoman's run for Detective.
I think so. Doom Patrol, DC's finest. Doom Patrol, the world's strangest heroes. So another spinoff from World's Finest. I don't know if it's a one. Oh, it's a collection.
Yeah, it's a collection.
Okay.
Yeah, this collects most of the run, like the first half of it. I think this is volume 1.
Okay, it collects stories from March 1964 to 1966 over the course of 2 years. My Grace Adventure 80 to 85, Doom Patrol issues 86 to 102, Brave and the Bold issue 65, Challenges of the Unknown issue 48, and Teen Titans issue number 6.
Longbow Hunters.
I've been waiting for this one to get a retrade.
It's a good series. And this collects the Longbow Hunters miniseries, along with issues 1 through 8, the Green Arrow Annual, the Comics Annual, question 7 to 18, question number 1. And this is interesting when it comes to the annuals for Green Arrow in question, because the only time these books put into a book was an omnibus. The Annual Detective That has been collected in a Batman book. DC Finest, Harley Quinn, The Birth of the Mirth. It's her early appearances.
Yeah, it's a retelling of her canon introduction into main comics, or at least a
Mhm.
collection of it.
Yes, and it's $40.
Judas Contract, the debut of the Nightwing persona. It's an iconic storyline.
Yeah, it collects the entire song. Ooh, a new printing of Red Sun. That's interesting.
Batman
$100.
89.
You see that price tag for that book?
$100 for Red Sun?
Yeah, for 216 pages. Why in the world is $100? Makes no sense.
Batman 89 Echoes.
The sequel to the original book.
And a reprint of Batman of New 52 Batman and Robin, or book 2. I believe this is the second volume, issues
Yes.
15 to 28. And does it include the annual? Hold on, let me see.
Yes, the first two annuals.
Okay.
Yeah, the storyline where Two-Face apparently kills himself at the end. I know spoilers for a book that came out 10 years ago, but you should have read it. It's good. Batman Volume 2. This is the end of Josh Williamson's run for the book. Probably contains issues like 8 to 13.
No, it just covers the Shush storyline. The Revenge Against Bane is likely going to be a third volume.
Yeah. Comes out in February. An omnibus for James Samuel's Batman.
Batman run.
Interesting.
It's mostly Joker War. I mean that because he pretty much hijacked. He takes up the last 15 issues of Tom King's originally commissioned Batman run.
Yeah.
So at least this first volume is going to be the majority of those 15 issues.
Mhm.
And I think Joker War takes at least half of them.
Yeah, because it's like 6 parts. 125, no surprise there. Dog Prisons.
Okay.
Volume 4 of that run. Oh, look, another printing of War and Jokes and Riddles. You've noticed how they've been reprinting the Tom King Rebirth run?
I have noticed they've been reprinting it a lot.
I don't know why. It's weird.
Batman and
Secret
Superman World's Finest Volume 5, Secret Origins.
8/17/25.
Oh, we have to do a comic review on this one. I know we agreed to do a Marvel project yet next, but we have to do a comic review on Nightfall.
Yeah, I have almost the whole thing in trade behind me except for Traka. This is an amazing event. Dixon, from what he mentioned on his podcast, this is an event that was thoroughly planned and executed really well.
Almost perfectly. Almost
Yes.
perfectly.
And also, he planned out the next several events related to like Legacy, Cataclysm. I actually got the first trade for this one. Of this new printing of the Brave and the Bold
The
by
Book
Mark
of
Waid and
Destiny.
George Perez. Really interesting. I'm actually quite surprised that he's had a new printing of that one. Especially the book came out, what was it, like
20
about
years
17?
ago?
Yeah.
Almost 20 years, like 15, 17 years ago to the day.
Yeah. That collects the whole entire event for Forever Evil. A deluxe edition of Grant Morris and Mark Millar's book. Those of you curious about this book, this is the book that introduces Black Flash. This is where he made his debut, though how he works was later retcon or book, but this is the book technically where he showed up in.
Green Lantern World Journal, Volume 2. This book was surprisingly good.
And this book contains like the rest of the book plus his epilogue, Green Lantern 15.
Icon versus Hardware. John Constantine Hellblazer, Dead in America. We briefly covered this book in last month's solicitation.
I think this contains the whole. Oh, it's the whole book.
Oh,
Uh,
JSA Volume 2 under Jeff Johns.
yeah, which the book just wrapped up.
The Great Darkness Saga.
Which a lot of people say this is the best Legion superhero story of all time.
It is.
And other people working this book, sadly, only 2 people working this book are no longer alive: Keith Gibb and Kurt Swan. Kurt Swan went first.
Hmm.
And Monster Companion Book 4. I think these compendiums for Miles must collect the books because a lot of the Miles books didn't last very long. It's only 60 bucks.
They really didn't before they were consolidating to DC.
I think like the longest book was Icon.
Yep. And this is a graphic novel, Prez.
Next is a reprint of the miniseries Prez.
Okay. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Volume 1.
More of giving middle finger to Alan Moore. He doesn't want this. He doesn't want the money for this anymore. He'd rather give it to Black Lives Matter. That's what I've heard he's admitted doing.
Shazam Volume 2. This was the latter half of Mark Waid's time on the book before Josie Campbell took over.
Yep.
Static Shadows of Dakota.
This is a sequel to season 1.
Action Comics Revenge of the Demon. This was the latter half of PKJ's contribution to the book.
Before he left.
I thought this was going to carry over into February solicitation, but a collection of the Boy Wonder Black Label miniseries. Because this just wrapped up like what, 2 weeks ago?
Yes. And the trick comes out in February. Red Hood the Hill.
Yeah, I think this was like a 4-issue miniseries, if I remember correctly.
I think it was 6.
Okay, it was a full miniseries. Okay. Another edition. I don't think I've read Far Sector in a while. I mean, it's fine. It's a self-contained story about it.
Nothing wrong with it per se. I have no problem with her. I have no problem with this lantern at all. You find kind of weird that her mask is like basically giant glasses.
It is a little weird. Oh, thank God that was the last one.
Yep. And the time is 11:48.
And we are at the 1 hour and 58 mark. Mm-hmm. Okay, Nick, what did you think of this month's solicitations?
Wow, this was really good solicit, especially a lot of villain books.
I agree. This is definitely an increasing trend of villain books. You hardly ever see villain books really take off the way that they do. Penguin is a household. It was a relative success.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and definitely, I thought about what you said. Have a good night, Cinema King. Any Naruto or anime news? Actually, we are planning the Boruto Tubu Vortex Chapter 4 review either tomorrow or Monday. I will coordinate that off stream, and then we'll give you a final announcement. But other than that, no official news that I've heard at this time.
Mm-hmm.
But as for this was a pretty good solicitation. Once again, I want to apologize for this taking as long as it did because of the hurricane, and I had technical problems. So I'm kind of playing catch up with all my projects and videos. Mm-hmm. The Damian Wayne the DeCamu retrospective, that'll be out by the end of this coming week. But the Damian Wayne retrospective will be pushed back to next week. Let me go ahead and confirm that now. So.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick, anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Just I got videos coming tomorrow.
Okay, and be sure to check those videos out. Like, comment, subscribe, everyone. And peace. Oh!